Now, welcome back to the polls. Now, for the first time in Ghana's history, a woman, Professor Opoku, has ascended to the role of vice president. While Ghana has seen women rise to the top leadership positions, including Speaker of Parliament, Chief Justices, and ministers, this marks the very first time a woman holds the second highest office in the land. This historic achievement has ignited celebrations among gender advocates, not only within Ghana, but beyond its borders. But what does Professor Opoku bring to the table, and what are the expectations of some women groups across the country? We head to the market of Accra to hear firsthand what the Ghanaian woman really expects of the incoming vice president. Take a look.
Currently, women are into women empowerment and all those stuff. So we having a female vice president. I think she should put them on. She should start organizing this seminars for females so that they can also do something to help. She should empower the females to also help the upcoming ones, the entrepreneurs, the journalists, all aspects, all sectors where we think the female are falling short. She should empower them so that we have a equilibrium. So
to say the obey, say promise now. Okay, so obey your man. Ya bompa ese nyakopon ya aduma na ombeto aso yama because ye hu nana akufado de all promises obeye nti ya hwe ono so se onomba power na hwe ono so de obeye man because promise odi ama ya remfie o aso obeye we ama 24 hours economy the 24 hours economy ni dia ya waru semi se obi a twan se 24 economy slim because nana akufado ka se obema free education. Oba no so free education na yadwuma ya MP so owa ha ene arekote oso oba ya road amaya malata ya bre so ya maya ba ya vote no wanya ba selo ko so to aso nto eso ono so bra no be de oka so oba ya ma no ya maya.
It came to me as like, oh, Ghana's choice, so maybe they wanted a first female vice president. But to me, having a mother, I see that a woman's stronghold can help build a nation in a good way. So to me, I support this fact that we have a female vice president like her to support us into a greater future.
Well, but how well do you know the vice president-elect? Here is something to know about her. So born on November 22nd, 1951, and she attended Wesley Girls High School from 1964 to 1971. And you can see all of the things that she has achieved. She has a doctorate degree from York University in Toronto. By now, you've read and you know that about her. You also know that she's the first female vice president of Ghana elect, and we're looking forward to that inauguration. First female vice chancellor in Ghana as well. First female vice chancellor of University of Cape Coast. Now, Minister for Education from February 2013 to January 2017. Did you also know that there's a group called Jane Army of Women? I bet you didn't know, and you didn't know that there were some forces behind her winning. But let's talk to Sally Abena Deborah, and she is the organizer for Jane's Army of Women, and also joined by Amma G. Amwa. She is a spokesperson for Jane's Army of Women. A little later, we shall also talk to Shamima Muslim, who's also joining us via Zoom. But back in the studio here, I am curious. Spokesperson, Sister Amma, what exactly is the Jane's Army of Women? What is it about?
So we are women across the nation of Ghana and beyond. And the agenda was to basically support Professor Nana being the incoming, potential or candidate for vice president in Ghana. It's something that has never happened before, and for our incoming president deciding among all the odds to choose a woman as vice president, it means he had a good vision and a good view of what Professor is bringing on board. So we as women, we had to rally around, gather our women from every corner of the city, of the town, in the rural area, wherever a woman is. Our motto was and is, if you lift a woman, you lift a nation. And
nice.
This is the time God has answered our prayer to bring a woman to be in the second most important office in Ghana. I mean, she will understand us better. She will feel what we feel. And she will come in to support our father, the president, to make it, make things come into fruition. So irrespective of the party that you stand in, it's not about partism. It's about women empowerment. It's about children, youth development. And that was what we stood for.
Right. Sally, and so in organizing women to want to support during the campaign, how easy or difficult was it? And what are some of the expectations they were sharing with you that, oh yes, we'll support Professor Jane Nana, but when she becomes vice president, this and this and that is what we want her to do for her. What have you been picking from women?
Okay, thank you very much. I think so far on the campaign grounds, when we went around all over Ghana, some of the challenges that came up was in terms of health. In terms of health, they spoke about having quality health, having quality education as well, also helping the women to set up their own individual businesses. Sometimes when women are, resourceful, it helps a lot. It helps the men. You don't always need to depend on the men. When you help a woman with something small, she's able to put together so many things. That's why we really need all women financially strong, because when you empower the women, it helps upbringing of every child. And as you can see, all the successful children, all the children that come on board that are able to, you can stand and say that this child has made it. Everything depends on the woman.
Right.
Everything depends on the woman.
I'll come back to you. When I come back to you, I'd like to know exactly the vice president-elect, her own aspirations for us women in Ghana. What you've been picking up from her, the posture, I made all of the excitement. But let me go on Zoom and speak to Shamima. Shamima, thank you for making time and talking to us. But I know that so many years ago, even when you spent a lot of years on TV, you have been a major advocate for women empowerment. How did this come to you personally?
So, good afternoon once again, MFA, and good afternoon to your viewers as well. And thank you to Ghana for the resounding win that they have given us. The mandate is truly phenomenal and huge. You were right. I've been always campaigning everywhere I find myself since my university days for a greater inclusive society where we have representations of all manner of persons and all manner of communities in the public space. And as we all know it, women underrepresentation was quite a major issue in the history of our country. So it was very exciting when the dream to see women elevated to the highest level in governance was no longer a distant dream, but quite a plausible one after His Excellency John Dramani Mahama nominated Professor Jane Nana Opoku in the 2000 was it the 2000? We're in 2004 now. The 2000 elections, right?
Yeah.
So he did that the first time, and I was one of the few voices that from the media. At that time, I was actively in the media, but I came out to publicly endorse it because these opportunities come once in a lifetime, and we must make it count. And that has always been my clarion call, that all women activists, all women rights groups, all male allies who have been on this fight for the longest time, we cannot afford to sit it out when it becomes very clear that there's a 50-50 chance, and it is in our hands, and all we need to do is to endorse that decision.
Right.
And not only verbally, the thumbprint. So I have been really vindicated, as has been so many women who supported the cause for us to put our hand where our mouth is, and as women to ensure we validate her nomination by going out in our numbers and voting for her. So Ghana would have its first female vice president, another major glass ceiling. And I'm excited and glad that I was part of this history.
Perfect. Now, again, we know how the Constitution really puts the vice president. It seems to be as though unless the president has assigned you, you're unable to do much. With our expectations, what kind of vice presidents are we looking to have?
Well, I don't speak for the vice president now, but if what His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has said during her outdooring, when he introduced her to the Ghanaian public, he did state quite clearly that he had very clear ideas where and what sectors he would want Her Excellency Professor Jane Opoku Agyemang to focus on. Mostly it has to do with the social sector. If you look at the social sector, it's so broad. It has education, it has health, it has gender, it has tourism even, it has chieftaincy. So a broad range of social sector issues which really touch everybody. You know, if you look at the social sector, it touches every citizen directly, remotely, indirectly. So it's a very important key sector, and His Excellency did announce publicly that Professor Nani Jane's briefs would include oversights over these very important social sectors. So I should suppose that is where we should see her quite actively pursue in terms of oversight and ensuring that we are meeting the target and the promises that we have made to the Ghanaian people.
Thank you.
And I say so also because she herself has had cause to speak about the kind of leader she would want to be when she spoke at the acceptance speech after His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was declared the president-elect just a couple of days ago, I think today's week, that is.
Yes.
So, and she did say that the most important thing is not to be the first through the door, but how you keep the door open for others.
Yes.
And it was quite a poignant statement if you listen deeply beyond the words. This is a commitment truly from a woman who has nurtured talents all her life and held hands all her life because she has been the first in many of the spaces she's found herself.
Yeah.
She's broken several glass ceilings as the first. So she recognizes and knows that it is just not the beauty of being the first, as her own experience has shown her, but how many more dreams that she helped to bring to fruition from being the first through that door. So if you go to the University of Cape Coast, for example, there are a lot of academicians, or academics, who would tell you that they were directly mentored, women and men alike, that they were directly mentored by Professor Jane Nana Opoku Agyemang.
Right.
So she understands the significance of the decision. It is not lost out on her. And being the mother that she is, I'm sure she's going to ensure she represents the broad range of issues that affects our society, affects our women, our children, our elderly, our men even. That is the kind of mother that she has been and so she will continue to be.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shamima. Thank you so much for talking to us. That's quite spirit lifting. Thank you. But let's come back into the studio. And Amma, tell me, how should my mother who lives in Mangwasi, how do we think that they are going to be able to benefit from the very first female vice president? Are we able to trickle down and decentralize the things that she'll be able to do to the very ordinary woman at the very bottom?
Yeah, I think Shamima made some serious pointers over there. And yes, this is an all-inclusive government where attention will be given to more of the regional and community development and resourcing. Resourcing could be in twofold, either human capacity or natural resource. So that will be a key thing that we look forward to, whereby it can also create more opportunities for our women and for our children, not just girls, but for girls and boys. Let me say the youth All right. And another driver too that we'll be looking at is the skill set and capacity training. Professor's agenda is also on education, reform and education. So skill set, not only for the tertiary, but also for the vocational and technical.
Okay.
Because we seem to be losing out on that. And that is also a very key thing to consider when it comes to development, human capacity. There are a lot. We have...
I'm sure that all of the pointers that you have made, when the inauguration is done, and we have seen it and she's been sworn in, I'm sure I'll bring you back. Sally, quickly before we wrap up on this conversation, what's the way forward for Jana Army for Women? Are you guys throwing a party that I'm invited to or something?
No party for now. We're still observing, protocols.
Okay.
So when the party time is, due, we're going to communicate that to you.
But this is quite an impressive initiative. I want to know how this army is going to be pushing for the women agenda case and not just for Professor.
When you're on the ground, that is where you feel the heartbeat of every woman. It's a different thing to be out here on this beautiful set and you're saying something, and it's a different thing when you go down the corners, you can hear, you can feel, you can see the tears of our mothers. So we have been there. We have experienced it. So I think we are a live testimony to bring this into reality. When we were making the campaign, we promised them a lot. But this time around, we are going back to them to bring their expectation to bear. And thank God, our father, His Excellency, per the 120 days agenda to reset Ghana, out of the 26 pointers, about 6 major pointers resonate with our mother. And this will be tackled and we'll work around it.
I'd see you both after the inauguration. What do you think?
You're
agreeing to that?
That'd be great.
Thank you. Thank you for watching The Pulse today. For more news, do log on to myjoyonline.com. Many thanks for watching. Do log on to myjoyonline.com.